Hello, hello, and welcome to Technology Today, powered by ohmtown.com. Today is April 14th, 2024. It's Season 1, Episode 8. Today we're going to be talking about Smart Liquid, Cybercrime Index, Airborne Threats, Making Cement, Forever Young, Moon Simulation, Tiny Hopcopter, the Future of Solar, Popular GPU Fails, and Chat Across Platforms. I don't have an intro for Technology Today yet, but everything is powered by ohmTown, so welcome to ohmTown. I am Mayor Watt, and up there is the sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, hometown citizens.
So, welcome back. You want to do the show? All 10 articles ready to go?
Ready?
Let's go. No transitions, we're just going to hustle through. The next article's over in Technology Today, not science fiction. Harvard scientists have developed an intelligent liquid. Scientists have developed a metafluid with programmable response. Scientists at Harvard John A. Paulson School of Engineering and Applied Sciences have apparently created an intelligent liquid. This has got to be a program, this has to be a artist concept. Yeah, so artist concept. Harvard researchers have created a versatile, programmable metafluid that can change its properties, including viscosity, optical transparency, in response to pressure. I do too. And
I'm not sure we want details on that.
I'm a non-Newtonian fluid, so I won't move until you push me, and then I'll... all right. Anyway, this new class of fluid has potential applications in robotics, optical devices, energy dissipation, showcasing a significant breakthrough in metamaterial technology. And again, this is an artist concept. The article's over at SciTech Daily, and it's from the Harvard John A. Paulson School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. The shirt for their...
it wraps around the front and the back.
Probably a polo team. Yeah, it's actually two lines, and they have really wide placards for it. So the article or the research was published in Nature. It's a first-of-a-kind metafluid, uses a suspension of small elastomer spheres between 50 and 500 microns that buckle under pressure, radically changing the characteristics of the fluid. The metafluid can be used in everything from hydraulic actuators to program robots, to intelligent shock absorbers that can dissipate energy depending on the intensity of the impact, to optical devices that can transition from clear to opaque. So maybe faster than the transitions lenses that I hated.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Oh, and one of the reasons why I didn't like the transitions glasses was that my lighting would activate them. So I would be...
like they would change while you were
yeah.
In the office.
They'd stay dark even though, yeah. So it says we're just scratching the surface of what is possible with this new class of fluid. But do they say what's in here? Okay, anyway. They say metamaterials, artificially engineered materials whose properties are determined by their structure rather than the composition, have been widely used in a range of applications for years. But most of the materials, such as metal lenses, pioneered by the lab of Federico Capasso, Robert L. Wallace, professor of applied science, and Vinton Hayes, senior research fellow in electrical engineering at SEAS, are solid. So this is a liquid. I'm going to hit play just so I can see what the heck this is. So tunable optical. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. It's, by the way, it's not going to the beat of our music intentionally.
It sure looked like it was.
Yeah. So you could actually, I guess, program them in a way so that they would turn transparent, but it's under pressure. I'm not sure what it is that actually causes them to activate. Using a highly scalable fabrication technique developed in the lab, David A. White's Melancrote, professor of physics and of applied science at SEAS, the research team produced hundreds of thousands of these highly deformable spherical capsules filled with air and suspended them in silicone oil. When the pressure inside the liquid increases, the capsules collapse, forming a lens-like half sphere. When that pressure is removed, the capsules pop back into their spherical shape. This is very much like e-ink, in that depending
Does it
on the
work on
electrical
similar
charge,
technology?
they don't really collapse, they reorient. But yeah, I mean, it seems like the same thing. And technically, e-ink is a liquid.
Non-Newtonian fluid?
It's interesting technology, because if you've ever used a Kindle, that's e-ink. And it can hold its last state basically forever, unless something physically impacts it or some electromagnetic charge dissipates on the e-ink. It'll stay whatever it last was. So it says, but with the metafluid, no sensing is needed. The liquid itself responds to different pressures, changing its compliance to adjust the force of the gripper to be able to pick up a heavy bottle, a delicate egg, a small blueberry, or with no additional programming. So it basically can act as a sensor because it is in and of itself a sensor. In traditional hydraulic systems powered by a simple air or water, it's not just water. Oil, hydraulic fluid, for instance, is not water. The robot would need some kind of sensing or external control, but that's not really what's going on here. It acts under its own.
Like it just does it instead of having to be programmed, I guess.
Yeah, be told to. So it also changes its optical properties when exposed to changing pressure. So as you saw in that previous GIF, the video was actually a video over on YouTube. The objects essentially pivoted, so that, not really pivoted though, they became half sphere, so they showed 50% of whatever it was they were obscuring before. And that depends on the size of the spheres. So a whole bunch of them that are really small, shifting to 50% would give you a different fidelity than a few big ones shifting to, because what they do is under pressure, they basically halve themselves. Oh, look at that. However, when the capsules are collapsed, the suspension transforms into a non-Newtonian fluid, meaning that its viscosity will change in response to shear force. The greater the shear force, the more fluid it becomes. This is the first metafluid that has been shown to transition between Newtonian and non-Newtonian states. So if they mention e-ink, I'm going to lose my mind. Luckily, they don't. All right. Well, I'll be happy.
It doesn't mean it's not in the full paper.
Yeah, exactly. The article, the research paper is actually titled "Shell Buckling for Programmable Metafluids," but it's weirdly that it's not really a programmable metafluid, as opposed to it's just affected by pressure. But let's keep going. We're going to try and stick to our timeline of an hour for the show. So let's keep going. I threw that into the chat so you can always access it there. It'll be in the show notes over on YouTube and the show notes as a podcast as well. So let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. World first Cybercrime Index ranks countries by cybercrime threat level. Following 3 years of intensive research, an international team of researchers have compiled the first ever World Cybercrime Index, which identifies the globe's key cybercrime hotspots by ranking the most significant resources of cybercrime at a national level. So the article
I'm glad it said that, because I was wondering whether it's going to be where the target or where the origin is.
Wow, you just cut out a little bit. So it's ranking it by the most significant resources of cybercrime. So, not resources, the most significant sources of cybercrime. So yeah, maybe it was the other way around. So it's from University of Oxford, and the article was posted at techexplore.com. And it's called the Index, published in the journal PLOS 1. Shows that a relatively small number of countries house the greatest criminal threat. Russia tops the list, followed by Ukraine, China, the US, Nigeria, and Romania. UK comes in at number 8. Co-author of the study, Dr. Miranda Bruce from the University of Oxford and UNSW Canberra, said the study will enable the public and private sectors, pardon me, the public and private sectors to focus their resources on key cybercrime hubs and spend less time and funds on cybercrime countermeasures in countries where the problem is not as significant. So it's all about budgeting, really.
Are there any surprises for you on the list?
No, not particularly. Although maybe Ukraine, I'm surprised at this current situation. They're still they might be a cyber criminal threat to Russia, but I don't know how much cyber criminal activity is coming out of Ukraine in and of itself. Maybe people aligned elsewhere are performing criminal acts, but like they're
Romania
in
surprised me. I hadn't heard of that one in reference to cybercrime.
Romania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, Ukraine and Romania are probably the two that I've like Nigeria has always been, but they arguably have really good internet in Nigeria. Yeah, it was kind of interesting to be told that a long time ago. So the co-author of the study, Dr. Miranda Bruce from the University of Oxford and UNSW Canberra, said the study will enable the public and private sectors to focus their resources. So, like I said, when I first mentioned that, this is really about budgeting. So, risk mitigation is primarily what it's all about. Let me throw this into the chat. There you go. It says the research that underpins the index will help remove the veil of anonymity around cybercriminal offenders, and we hope that it will aid the fight against the growing threat of profit-driven cybercrime. This will not stop anonymity. It will not remove the veil of anonymity. The only time that will remove the veil of anonymity is if they're caught and exposed and named. So we now have a deeper... Go ahead.
I was going to say, you can have somebody who's probably looking like they're operating from a location and may not be.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the context of the United States criminal activity of cybercrime. Here in the States, you're going to get caught. So it's not if, it's when. Unless you stop really early. Like you might get going, get away with a couple of gigs, but you're going to end up actually prosecuted at some point. So
I'm also interested in knowing if it's like state sponsored versus individuals. So I think there is a difference across certain countries.
Yeah, it says the data that underpins the index was gathered through a survey of 92 leading cybercrime experts from around the world who are involved with cybercrime intelligence gathering and investigations. I wonder what the data set truly is, though. 92 individuals, right? That's
Is that representative of 92 countries?
Yeah. How distilled down is this? Yeah. Is it an echo chamber? They only know what they know, or did they talk to a consortium, and each one of those consortiums was cybercrime experts? You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you have 92, or is it individuals or is it teams of people? Yeah. The experts to consider 5 major categories of cybercrime nominate the countries that they consider to be the most significant sources, and then rank each one according to impact, professionalism, technical skill of its cyber criminals. Yeah, it sounds like individuals and a lot of opinion. So they're hoping to expand the list. But we'll see. We watch this all the time, because it's not just about somebody else protecting you from the criminals out there, you have to be aware of it too.
Right, and it's not point in time, but I think it's kind of exciting that they're looking at this across the board. Is it all data? Probably not.
Well, if you look up threat maps, you'll be able to see just how pervasive it is. And 92 people might be able to get some picture of it. Really depends on the width and breadth of that, or the breadth and depth of it. Okay, let's keep going though. This next article is over in Technology Today as well. Oops. Hold on a second. I messed up. There you go. Real life Eye of Sauron. New technology to detect airborne threats instantly. Picture this disaster scenario in the making. It's at an industrial plant. Pipe cracks, spraying a cloud of tiny droplets into the air. Workers don't know it. They go about their business. I can imagine what's going to happen at the end of this sentence, but the aggregator chops it off at a set amount. So, University of Colorado at Boulder put the article together. It's published by scitechdaily.com. The link is available already in the chat. And so workers, however, within minutes, a laser-based device of the size of a small suitcase spots the cloud and tells safety crews what's in it so they know how to respond. That the vision behind the new project from a team of engineers and chemists at the University of Colorado Boulder, California Institute of Technology, University of California, Santa Barbara, and 3 companies. It's funded by a new contract from the Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Activity, or IARPA, part of the Federal Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The effort borrows its name, the Standoff Aerosol Measurement Remote Optical Network, or Sauron, from the villain in the Lord of the Rings book series, a presence who often takes the form of a flaming eye and whose gaze pierces cloud, shadow, and earth.
These projects always work hard to get a catchy name.
Yep. So Sauron, they explain, will zoom in on aerosols, the term used for a wide range of tiny particles that float in the air. Some contain chemicals that are harmful to humans, etc., etc. To detect the hazards, the team is turning to a Nobel Prize-winning technology called the frequency comb laser. The researchers hope that their devices could, in a not-so-distant future, help protect people from a range of airborne threats, including industrial accidents and even potential chemical attacks in crowded cities.
They're also looking for it in highly, effective illicit drugs like fentanyl.
Yeah, so they said such as polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, ammonium nitrate, a common ingredient in explosives, also forms aerosols. So can fentanyl, an opioid drug that can be deadly in even small quantities. So if you find, if there's a gas of it, if there's a mist of it, then it can be found by this. But I don't know how expansive this is, what the cost of it would be. The cost of a life. So it would be cheap, right? A life is priceless. Right. But a business doesn't see.
But how many places do you put this in? Right.
Yeah. A business doesn't see even the human capital that gets lost as priceless. They go, oh, well, we're going to have to hire somebody new. It really sucks.
No, and if it's going to cost them, say, millions of dollars to put something in place, and they're like, well, maybe we'll lose one person in 10 years.
Right.
We know which is going to win.
Yeah. We'll work on our safety protocols. Oh, and by the way, remove the sign sentence that says days since last accident.
Exactly. Yeah, be aware if it says 0 or something.
And it seems like a neat idea, but unless it's fractions of it all are to run a day. Yeah. Let's keep going. This next article is over in Technology Today. Making cement is very damaging to the climate. One solution is opening in California. We have talked about cement over the years. because I've got a product that I want to bring to market, and I'm very conscientious about the environment. So I don't like the idea of releasing a product that might be really, really, really popular, if not just meme level popular. And so I'm trying to find a solution. This article, though, it says it's a major contributor to the climate change, or to climate change, the way buildings and roads are made with concrete. It's also a problem that's growing as more of the world develops. So the race has been on to find solutions for material that's responsible for roughly 8% of global carbon dioxide emissions. That's cement. There's some producers of organic compounds that are greater than 8%, and it's one manufacturer of fertilizer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was tied to the nitrogen.
Yep.
For some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Isabella O'Malley over at techexplore.com put the article together. Now, one California startup has developed a technology that reduces carbon dioxide in the making of cement and could have the potential to operate in large scale. Forterra intercepts carbon dioxide exhaust from the kilns where the cement is made and routes it back in to make additional cement. In its effort at commercial scale, the technology is being added to Cal Portland facility in Redding, California. One of the largest cement plants in the western U.S. It opens Friday. Yay, congratulations.
That's very timely.
Yeah. Initially, Forterra will produce enough to mix with about 1/5 of Cal Portland's product in a blend that reduces carbon by about 10%, Gilliam said. There is a strong enough demand for higher blends that reduce carbon by 40 to 50%, and for a pure product the company makes, which has 70% lower carbon. So the first large sacks are scheduled to move out the door of the Redding plant the first week of May. Wow, they're moving fast.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. Poured some 100 tons of low carbon cement into California office buildings and sidewalks, but shuttered in 2014 due to financial challenges. Building on that knowledge, Gilliam founded Forterra in 2019 with former Calera employees. It says there's pretty much a cement plant every 250 miles in the world, and most are located near a limestone quarry. Because it works with the existing plants and uses the same material the industry already uses, Forterra says its technology is an economically competitive option. So there you go. Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, well, this sounds really good, particularly since they're already getting it into commercial usage.
Yep.
Like, we need action now, not in 20 years.
Concrete is the second most used product on Earth aside from water. Cement makes up 10 to 15% of concrete by volume, but accounts for 88% of concrete's considerable emissions. And other ingredients in concrete are sand, gravel, crushed stone, water. Manufacturing 1 ton of cement emits nearly 1 ton of carbon dioxide.
Those statistics are really outrageous, but that's good. They're tackling the actual source, not something that's ancillary to it.
Yep. So they talk about how it works, but we'll just let y'all go and figure that out. I mean, it's a longer article, but I think that it's one that you might be interested in. This next article is over in Technology Today, titled "Forever Young, Scientists Have Discovered RNA That Doesn't Age in the Brain."
So I'm assuming the baseline is that RNA does age in the brain?
It ages. So neuroscientists at FAU have discovered that certain building blocks in nerve cells can last a lifetime, or certain RNA molecules in those nerve cells. RNA elsewhere does not. So they found a special subset of RNA. So Friedrich Alexander Universität Erlangen-Nuremberg put the article together. It's over at scitechdaily.com. Certain RNA molecules in the nerves in the brain last a lifetime without being renewed. Scientists from FAU, have now demonstrated that this is the case together with researchers from Germany, Austria, and the USA. RNAs are generally short-lived molecules that are constantly reconstructed to adjust to environmental conditions. Most cells in the human body are regularly renewed, thereby retaining their vitality. However, there are exceptions. The heart, the pancreas, the brain consist of cells that do not renew throughout their whole lifespan. And yet, we still have to remain in full working order.
So I didn't know this about the heart, pancreas, and brain. I'm not entirely surprised about the brain just because the brain-blood barrier. So it might make sense that something was different there, but that wouldn't explain like the heart and the pancreas.
Yeah, I guess our brain, it's fixed. It's weird that the heart doesn't in any way, but I suppose it needs to be as robust as possible. It only grows bigger as you age for a certain amount of time, and then it stays. So aging neurons are an important risk factor for neurodegenerative illnesses such as Alzheimer's. A basic understanding of the aging process and key components are involved in maintaining cell function is crucial for effective treatment concepts. So you kind of have to have a fixed point in our brain so that it doesn't change, something doesn't age out and fail, so it just stays there. In a joint study conducted together with neuroscientists from Dresden, La Jolla in the USA, and Klosterneuburg in Austria, the working group led by Toda has now identified a key component of brain aging. The researchers were able to demonstrate for the first time that certain types of ribonucleic acid, or RNA, that protect genetic material exist just as long as the neurons themselves. This is surprising, as unlike DNA, which as a rule never changes, most RNA molecules are extremely short-lived and are constantly being exchanged. So in order to determine the lifespan of the RNA molecules, the TODA group worked together with the team from Professor Dr. Martin Hetzer, a cell biologist at the Institute of Science and Technology in Austria. So they marked RNA, tracked the lifespan of it in mouse brains, and were able to identify the marked long-lived RNA in 2-year-old animals, and not just in their neurons, but also in somatic adult neural stem cells in the brain. So undifferentiated cells. In addition, the researchers discovered that the long-lived RNA that they referred to as LLRNA for short tend to be located in the cell's nuclei, closely connected to the chromatin, or to chromatin, a complex of DNA and proteins that forms chromosomes. It indicates that LLRNA plays a key role in regulating chromatin. All right. Interesting. So maybe they can learn. Maybe they can learn from this. You know, one of the things that, well, I don't know. I don't know enough about this, but I find it really interesting that they've discovered RNA that just kind of stays the same.
It'd be interesting to see what the impact of this was in people that have been exposed to significant environmental conditions. Because in concept, you'd think this would look kind of constant through the person's lifespan, but it's kind of like the nature versus nurture type experiment, I guess.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the long-term outcome of this is, and maybe perhaps its impact on understanding cancer.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be interesting to see what that looks like in a patient with a chronic condition.
Yep.
Like, does that fit what they think it should look like, or is it disrupted in some way?
Interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay, so let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today, replicating the moon. Scientists develop innovative lunar surface simulation chamber. I think this is the one with the little bots running around on it. Developing a lunar base faster by creating an electrostatically charged environment. Research on establishing the moon as a forward base for deep space exploration is underway. National Research Council of Science and Technology put the article together. It's over at SciTech Daily. Let's see here. Among the most serious threats in executing lunar missions in the moon, or is the moon's surface environment, which is electrostatically charged. Due to its extremely thin atmosphere, the moon is directly exposed to solar ultraviolet rays, X-rays, solar wind, Earth plasma, etc. Thus, clouds of dust on the moon exhibit strong static electricity. Yikes, when you zap somebody, it could kill them, I guess.
Exactly. Watch out for like touching a balloon or something.
Don't pet your cat, it'll just spontaneously combust. The moon's electrostatic environment is positively charged during the day and negatively charged during the night. Wow. So, given the moon has nearly no atmosphere, dust can easily be blown away even by small impacts due to the minimal air resistance. Electrostatically charged regolith particles may cause severe damage to space exploration devices when it comes stuck on them. For example, when stuck on PV cells, photovoltaic cells, these particles degrade electricity generation efficiency. These manned missions, in manned missions, they can damage spacesuits that protect astronauts. This is talking about the regolith, or penetrate the respiratory system, resulting in life-threatening consequences. Correct? Silicosis, or the moon version of silicosis, would occur.
I bet they'd also affect those. They built kind of like a space bubble that they were checking, like when it would explode, essentially. But it'd be interesting to see whether they're immune to this.
Like sand it away or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the chamber developed by KICT, K-I-C-T, incorporates ultraviolet lamps, electronic beams, and plasma generators to positively or negatively charge the surfaces of test objects. Going forward, the equipment can be used to electrostatically charge a replica of lunar soil using ultraviolet radiation and electron beams. It will help to determine how much material adheres to rovers and anticipate a problem. Watch, they have to like charge it a little bit so that it kicks off all of the negative ones, but then a whole bunch of positive ones attach.
It seems like that'd be a tough experiment to run.
Yeah. So the error between the experimental measurement obtained in the research and the corresponding theoretical value was within approximately 5%, demonstrating the reliability of the developed tech. So it looks like they're going to be capable of providing a lab environment here on Earth. A lot of money should be poured into this because it's really expensive to go land on the moon, particularly without the GPS.
That is true. And without like the lighthouse and the train and all those things set up yet.
Yep. It's going to be messy out there.
Maybe they need Benjamin Franklin or somebody to help with stuff like this.
Oh boy. There's a lot of researchers doing it, I'm sure. This next article is over in Wanted. Tiny 35-gram Hopcopter transforms robotics with its hopping and aerial abilities. Robotics have taken a leap into the extraordinary with the advent of the 35-gram Hopcopter. This pint-sized marvel, developed by researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, combines the agility of a grasshopper with the versatility of a drone. Its ability to both hop and fly opens up new possibilities for exploration, surveillance, environmental monitoring. Ingenious design, the Hopcopter's primary mode of locomotion is hopping.
Well, that was predictable. Do you think this is going to be the hot new toy for 2024?
Sure. So ubergizmo.com is a new source here at ohmTown. And I guess it has a little drone type capability, but it also hops. So the Hopcopter's primary mode of locomotion is hopping, inspired by grasshoppers. It uses a spring-loaded mechanism to launch itself into the air. This hopping capability allows it to navigate challenging terrains leap over obstacles, and explore other areas that are inaccessible on traditional drones. But if it can fly up, then the drone is not going to have a problem with any of that.
Right.
But it's really light, 35 grams, the weight of a small bird.
Well, I think that's pretty cool. And I'm imagining it can get into a lot of areas that other things cannot.
Yeah, so it acts like a little drone. I don't have pictures. I'm air gapped other than this one here. So if there is something else attached to this in some way, I don't know what it is. But I find it really interesting that it has like a little attachment that allows it to pogo stick out.
That's exactly what it looks like.
It's pretty neat. So they say the Hopcopter's primary mode of locomotion is hopping, inspired by grasshoppers. It uses a spring-loaded mechanism to launch itself into the air. This hopping capacity allows it to navigate challenging terrain, leap over obstacles, explore areas inaccessible to traditional drones. I feel like I'm reading the same thing 3 times. It can hop from plant to plant, collecting data on soil moisture, crop health, pest infestations. Their lightweight design minimizes soil compaction, making them ideal for suitable or sustainable farming practices.
When you think of like traditional robots, you think of them as kind of just going in one direction. They can't really pivot. They can't encounter any difference in terrain, etc. But it's just interesting seeing all the. We've featured some other articles in here as well, but like pretty soon, I think robots of some kind will be able to go everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a robot for everything right now. It's pretty neat. Just stay in the uncanny abyss. The next article is over in Technology Today. The future of solar cells and more. Japanese chemists develop glowing self-healing material. Interesting, right? A research team at Riken Center for Sustainable Resource Science has developed it has succeeded in developing a self-healing material that's also capable of emitting light. Riken is the source. SciTechDaily.com is where it's published. So, find it kind of interesting. Oh, this is really interesting because I was just looking into this. UV elastomer. So in 2019, Xiaomin Hu and his team at Riken CSRS successfully copolymerized ethylene and anisole propylene using a rare earth metal catalyst. The resulting binary copolymer displayed remarkable self-healing properties against damage. The copolymer's soft components, alternating units of ethylene and anisole propylene, coupled with hard crystalline units of ethylene chains, acted as physical cross-linked points, forming a nanophase separated structure that proved crucial for self-healing. So you cut it, it can heal back together. I don't know, in that embodiment, if it's gooey, it's going to act like a gummy that you cut in half, and when you stick it back together, it sticks back together.
Right.
Is this actually truly healed, or is it just stuck together? I mean, I see the
right, like what's the I can't think what the word is, but durability of the resulting item.
Yeah, so maybe they talk about it. This was an added surprise, or there was an added surprise. The resulting copolymer not only proved to be tough, but also exhibited self-healing without external stimuli or energy. Its tensile strength fully recovered within 24 hours, demonstrating a high self-healing speed compared to binary copolymers. The material was able to self-heal even in water, acidic, and alkaline solutions, giving it potential use in a variety of environments. So, asked and answered. there's more for this article, but go and check it out. We kind of gave you a quick rundown of it. The next article is in Reality Hacker. The most popular GPU fails the 2024 litmus test. I chose this because of that. I haven't even read the snippet. The RTX 3060 is the most popular GPU on Steam, but given the demands of games in 2024, it probably shouldn't be. Yeah, people are stepping down. Yeah. People are lowering their resolution so that they can play the game instead of having to pay an exorbitant price for a 4000 series card. Jacob Roach over at digitaltrends.com put the article together. So let's see here. NVIDIA's RTX 3060 is the most popular GPU around, and it's not even close. According to the latest Steam hardware survey, the 2021 GPU is close to 7% of gaming PCs. Wow. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a huge slice. For reference, the second most popular GPU, RTX 2060, a full generation behind, sits at under 4. It's easy to see why GPUs are popular too. You can pick it up for between $250 and $300 and even for less used, and it comes with a critical 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So the RTX 3060...
I mean, I don't really care about the price if it doesn't do what it's needed to do, though.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you end up... What ends up happening is sometimes people buy a piece of equipment and they find out it doesn't measure up, so they end up buying what they should have bought, but they thought they'd get away with saving some money. So the author, again, it's Jacob Roach over at Digital Trends, but together a range of benchmarks to represent the most recent, most popular, and most demanding games released in the past year. Not every game is most popular, not every game is most demanding, but the collection represents the titles from the past year that you might want to play on a gaming PC, so there's the list.
That's kind of a long list, plus it has some of the most recent releases, right?
Yeah. And a lot of this might actually be down to code efficiency. Like there were a lot of complaints about Helldivers being a resource hog and stuff like that. And then apparently it's all gone away. It's all been fixed to some degree as far as I know. Starfield still has a wild amount of people still interested in playing it. Same thing with Hogwarts Legacy. Dragon's Dogma 2 is actually pretty intense for graphics. Apparently, I don't own it. And Horizon Forbidden West is definitely graphics intensive. So they say if you've read any of their GPU reviews, again, it's over at Digital Trends. There's a lot of crossover here. Games like Cyberpunk 2077 and Red Dead Redemption 2 are demanding, but they're mature. They provide a solid foundation for comparing graphics cards. They're actually going to be, I guess, reporting on the 3060, 2060, etc. But the 3060 is apparently the big one.
Yeah, I mean, that's, right? Isn't that one the most popular?
Yeah.
From the headline, but I mean, it also depends. Not every gamer is alike either. So are the people buying this one playing those games? Maybe, maybe not.
So I don't think that they're really taking into account anything other than the performance of the card itself. It says, you can see in my results above, you're getting 60 frames in games like Dragon's Dogma 2, Resident Evil 4, Hogwarts Legacy, but a lot of titles fall short of that mark. The wildly popular Helldivers 2 is too demanding for 60 frames at Ultra, as is Starfield. Pardon me one second.
So yeah, I mean, that's just like a no-go if you think you're using this for those two games.
Yeah, so it's really interesting though, because Helldivers is a very new game. Starfield isn't necessarily new, but it's graphics intensive, but it might be down to coding. If they were more efficient and effective at coding, maybe it would be faster on the frames. Same thing with Helldivers 2. It's new. They're actually patching it regularly, so maybe it's not really a hardware per se issue. It's the software tools used to generate the game.
Right.
So it says the RTX 3060 is capable enough at 1080. You could turn down some of the graphic settings and be able to upscale to get you above 60 frames. Yeah. Prices are dropping, but they're still really pricey. For example, the RTX 4060 is around 19% faster at 1080, and it's available for around $300. Yeah, but when you do like head to head, overall, I think people are like, it's not worth the money. Actually, for $300, I think it's worth the money, no matter what. Step up to the 4000 series so that you get the driver support and reliability of newer equipment, smaller footprint. I have a 3080 that is huge, and then I've got a little 4080 that's like that. So technology has changed dramatically since the 36 or the 30 series release, or 3000 series. And then they talk about AMD and Intel's Arc. They say it's close to 15% faster than the RTX 3060, but you're talking about modern generation of cards. So I would always move up to the latest generation if you can afford it.
Right, you don't want to buy something that's already on its way out.
Right. And now the 5000 series or 50 series RTX from NVIDIA and new AMDs are right around the corner, maybe a year from now. So I'd hold off. Okay, but let's do our last article for today in Technology Today. This is over in chat. This is over in ohmTown Daily. A new bill would try to make tools like Zoom and Teams work together securely. A new bill proposal from Senator Ron Wyden would require video conferencing and messaging tools used by the federal government to be able to communicate with each other, even if made by different companies. It would also enforce high security standards for government collaboration tools, including end-to-end encryption.
I guess I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a private government contract for government versions.
Some interface between the two or something.
Yeah, kind of like Matter for Internet of Things devices. They could. I think that it's fairly easy. The end-to-end encryption part, though, is going to be a real pain. Because here's how end-to-end encryption works. You have a key and I have a key. We share a key and we can talk to each other. Right? You have my public key and a private key. It decrypts it, allows you to see what I send you. I do the same. The problem there is if you've got 40 people in a Zoom or Teams meeting and you want end-to-end encryption, that end isn't a single solitary point. It's everybody, unless you have a server that is going to be built specifically to facilitate receiving something encrypted and sending it.
Oh, okay.
Encrypted
like
again.
Kind of a central hub or something.
Right. And so that's kind of like how common access cards work. But again, that's point to point. You log into your device, you open up a VPN or whatever secure communication tool that you use, and you're ensconced in this point to point. There isn't anybody else in between you. When there's other people in between you, you end up with problems involved with end-to-end encryption, because the encryption prevents anybody from looking inside the packets. You have no idea what's in there. It's encrypted. All you know is that, not you, but all the network knows is here's the IP it needs to be sent to. So I find end-to-end encryption is going to be a difficult haul for these companies who want to make money and who don't want to have to tell their customers your server is too weak to do end-to-end encryption.
Right.
Depending on who the client is, the whole on-prem mantra. Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult. So, but government is notorious for not trusting anybody except themselves, and then even then they go, "Oh, I don't trust you," with a person in the same office. So anyway,
do you think from a technology standpoint this is feasible, or is it too challenging because of the things you've mentioned?
No, it's doable. It's just compute intensive. So you're going to have a whole lot of CPU cycles, GPUs dedicated to this encryption process. And it's, like I said, it's resource intense. So it's not cheap. They say here the Security and Interoperable Government Collaboration Technology Act, a discussion draft shared exclusively with The Verge, would make it so that the government user on Teams, for example, would be able to speak to a colleague at a different location using Zoom.
There might be a simpler solution, but okay.
And pick up the phone? No.
Well, I was thinking mandate one platform. I know that comes with its own problems, but...
Well, yeah, I understand certain things about this because there's strata of privacy. There's strata of security. And so if you're going to mandate that everything remain inside a secure compartment, it's going to be hilariously expensive. So the article is over at theverge.com. Lauren Feiner is the author. The deck statement says Senator Ron Wyden introduced a new proposal to encourage interoperability and encryption in government collaboration tools. Yeah, even using one solution, it's going to cause people to, well, they're going to find shortcuts because humans are notoriously lazy. We'll take the most efficient path, even if it means running into oncoming traffic. So here's how it would work. The bill would direct the General Services Administration to compile a list of collaboration technology features that the government uses, including video conferencing, text-based messaging, file sharing, scheduling, live document editing. Then NIST would come up with a list of interoperability standards for those features. The standards would also have to be inclusive of end-to-end encryption where possible to protect government communications from foreign surveillance. Okay, problem there is that if you're using their client and you put your encryption key into their client, they have access to that. You can guarantee it all many ways to Sunday, but a patch or a backdoor would allow...
Or a bad actor or whatever.
Yeah. So the industry would have 4 years from when NIST identifies the interoperability standards to become compliant if they want to sell their tools to the federal government. So expect this in 10 years. Yeah.
Based on the 4-year window.
Yeah. The bill underscores concerns in the government of serious security risks that could arise through technology vendors, because every security breach seems to be blamed on a third-party vendor.
Right. It's never the responsibility of whomever looks like they might be responsible.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's it. We are done with Technology Today for April 14th, 2024. We always get back into the party bus and race down Main Street, and then we're already in it. But we can click on Technology Today. Maybe there will be some more news. Oh, look, there is. OpenTable won't add first names after all, or photos to old reviews after backlash. Look at that.
I love how quickly those things turn around.
Yeah, because we were just talking about it last week when it was disclosed that OpenTable was going to add names. The whatever the account name was, they were going to add it. The real behind, not the handle, not the...
right, like first and last name,
not the
or
alias.
first name.
Yeah, they were going to put the first names and other photos to old reviews. You're insane. Anyway, that's it for today, and for Technology Today this week. I am Mayor Watt, and up there and around me is the sentient AI.
Good night, Uptown citizens. Be back soon. We have one more show for you today.
Yay! See you soon.